Good evening, race fans. Welcome here to tonight's race here at the Phoenix Raceway. Tonight we do have 200 laps for the Mrs.Goody's Goodies 200. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me as always is Chris Wright. Chris, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to see some action here from Phoenix before we roll on to Bristol for tomorrow and Wednesday. Hopefully it's a great race tonight. Should be interesting. I think the restarts are going to present some opportunities for some big wrecks, but I feel like if we can run 5-6 laps off a restart, should be able to make a long green flag run around here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting here tonight to see what we get out of this one. Obviously, being here at Bristol, or we're not at Bristol at all. We're Bristol tomorrow. Being here at Phoenix presents a lot of opportunity for these drivers to make passes and work their way forward, but also with that, it typically presents an opportunity for additional incidents out there on the racetrack. Looks like we're getting set to go green this time. Just a reminder once again, Chris, as you know, the start-finish line a little bit further out here at this racetrack. So we're going to ditch the pace car, but we're not going yet.
Should be fun. Look at the Kmart RC machine there by Justin Fuller right next to Scott Crump. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, my pick to win this thing, I'm picking Nick Massey tonight.
Yeah, I didn't even realize Nick was in the field here tonight. But good to see Nick Massey out here as we are green. All the drivers had been instructed to ensure that they remained above that yellow line once we got started here tonight. Looks like we did have a clean restart there, or initial start, I should say, as we are underway.
Great start. Everybody comes off of turn 4 down into turn 3. Still weird to say that here, by the way. After all the years we've known this place, and then it flips around, it is still weird to say that they're coming up off of turn 4 down into turn 1 like this.
Yeah, not sure if you just saw that there, Chris, but a couple drivers opted to go all the way down into, I guess we call it the dog leg of sorts, but the drivers opting to drop as far down as they could, which, although it gives you additional racetrack to work with, it also presents an opportunity for additional issues as the race goes on, as the race tightens up as well, and these drivers maybe slide up ahead of somebody that they wouldn't normally want to do that.
Yeah, I think you're going to see it on the start obviously and restarts tonight when there's a lot of spots to be gained. But once, we got a wreck here. The 07's around.
Jaden Racimus.
The 19, Gerald Campbell's involved. Jeff Green's involved.
Jaden Racimus, Nick Massey, Gerald Campbell, David Tooker, Jeff Green, Seth Rawls, all listed as being involved in that one. Let's take, we do have meatball flags as well, just an update here. Jaden Racimus and Seth Rawls both picking up meatballs, which means they do have required damage. Let's take a look here at Jaden Racimus and see what happened. The wreck may have started. Yeah, he just gets loose.
That's Nick. I think Nick's okay, though.
Nick should be okay. He did pick up a 4X. David Tooker should be okay as well. Jeff Green, maybe a little bit too much damage on the right front of that thing. But lap 3 will be issued to Jaden Racimus for that one.
And Gerald Campbell's involved in this as well. Yeah, that contact with Jeff Green and the 07 really hurt both cars.
And that was a pretty easy call for race control there, Chris, as Jaden did go around, but we're going to go ahead and make that call, let the drivers know what it is. So tally just issued to Jaden Racimus there. The drivers have been advised. Ethan Burrell, hello to Ethan Burrell. He just got all excited I was there, so nice to see Ethan Burrell there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through at these damaged race cars. I can't even see a scratch on Nick Massey. It's like it was some kind of net code contact.
Nick got hit on the door, Chris, so sometimes you get lucky when it comes to that. Let's see if we can grab. Of course, it's not showing us the right side of the Nick Massey car. Let's see. Oh, and the
Choker's just
one
got a
time.
scratch.
Yeah, Tooker's wasn't too bad. We got some cool cameras here tonight, by the way. At, Jeff Green. Heavy damage on the front of that thing. Yeah, looking at the right side of Nick Massey's machine here, Chris. He looks fine.
Gerald's got some damage, but he looks okay too.
Gerald will end up with damage at some point anyways in this race. That's just the nature of the event. But nothing too major on, I don't think anyone except for really Jeff Green, Jaden Racimus, and Seth Rawls. Rawls was having connection issues here tonight. So, kind of doesn't benefit him, but I think he would have been parked at some point anyways, just with how bad the connection was for him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. We're going to have a restart here on a little bit older tires now. I look for some aggressive moves right off the restart here. People dive into the apron like we seen earlier.
I hate to say this, Chris, but we're going to have to watch that 15. We're going to have to watch that 15 machine here on the restart. I just think he's going to be one of those guys, if he has the opportunity to dive down to the inside, he's going to do it. He is starting on the high side here with some tough competition around him.
I was going to say, it's going to be hard for him to get down there this first time.
Trey Eidson's running a different scheme here tonight. I just want to point that out here on the broadcast. That Ford EcoBoost 77, that thing's hot. I like that.
Yeah,
car.
A lot of great schemes out here. You know, I like the Kmart RC cooler machine there.
Absolutely. Even Chad, you know, we sometimes sometimes give Chad heck, and nice to see him running. I believe that's a Jeff Green throwback.
Yeah, I believe it is a Jeff Green throwback there.
As
Come
we
around here to
get
the restart
set,
zone.
Justin Fuller back on the green loud pedal. The green loud pedal, Chris.
And everybody cuts to the apron.
That's a lot of cars in a lot of spots right there. Everyone looking for opportunity. Roy Collins
is backwards here.
Lap number 8. Taking a look at Rory Collins here.
Well, you see here, I can already tell you, they're trying to go 4 wide into turn 1.
That's definitely on the 62, Chris. I have to say that's on the 62 because he did come up about 3 lanes into the 99 of Rebilas.
Yeah, it looks like he just went down in there.
Yeah,
a little deep.
That's
like,
kind of an easy one for me. That's on the 62 of Rebilas, of Roy Collins.
And then Mark's right there. You know, great sponsor for Elite, great sponsor of the series, and sneaks on around.
Tyler Fody questioning why they were only going 4 wide. But caution number 2, tally number 2 already here, Chris, on lap number 8. So not the start these guys were hoping for. There was a lot of hope that maybe we'd get in and be able to put a good run in, but 2 cautions in the first 10. Still lots of opportunity for them to clean it up a little bit later. Another thing to point out here, obviously, Chris, you mentioned that, yeah, we're going to be at Bristol the next 2 days, tomorrow night. No, it's not the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series. It's the Elite All-Star Race. So that one will kick off our Bristol week, followed by the 500-lap Bristol Cup race on Wednesday night. So if you aren't tired of Bristol tomorrow, you're going to be tired of it Wednesday. So be sure to join us. That's a lot of laps around that track.
Yeah, and I believe we're both in the race tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely a benefit for us not having to work our way through the open. I was.
No. Oh, you're in the actual event on Wednesday night?
Oh, are you in
You
the
already locked
open?
in? Yeah, I get to go race in the open.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
I somehow won the fan vote. People liked me for some reason.
Yeah, so I get to race in the open tomorrow night and try to earn my way into the All-Star race.
You you can do it. You can do
Well,
it,
I'm driving
Chris.
one of your cars, right? So, you
We'll
giving
give
me some
you
good
we'll
stuff.
give you some good engines.
I don't want the engine. It's Bristol. Give me some great
We'll give
downforce.
you
I need
good
that spoiler to
downforce.
be.
We'll
I
give
need
you
a
a comfy
15-foot
seat
spoiler.
too. Nice comfy seat. You'll need it.
I don't know, 2 days in a row at Bristol, and with Wednesday being full distance, 500 laps at Bristol
Well,
Wednesday night. Wow.
Chad kind of realized tonight before the race that he screwed up when it came to the schedule, and he gave us 2 full distance races this week. Full distance tonight, full distance on Wednesday as well. So that's a lot of racing for some of these drivers. Some of them looking to do upwards of 700 plus laps this week, with most of them attempting the All-Star race as well. So that's a lot of racing.
I'm okay with that, though. I like full distance races more than the shorter ones because the strategy has time to play out. You're usually going to get some kind of green flag stuff somewhere. I know we've started off with a bunch of yellows tonight, but at some point we're going to get a green flag stop.
Now, see, for me, Justin Vandermarl, one of my teammates on 21 Savage, he's always pushing for additional full distance races, and I always tell him he's crazy because I think they're absolutely horrible. I cannot stand full distance races except for Daytona.
And real quick here before we go green, if you need a paint scheme, go hit up Justin.
Absolute JV Designs as we're underway. Justin Fuller with a great start. Everyone else with a start, I guess. And there we mentioned Chad Frankfield going to the bottom. He does right there and didn't really gain anything. Might have lost a spot. But Fuller back out front just like he's done in, well, just about everything that he's raced here in Elite thus far. Justin Fuller's kind of been the man to watch.
Taking a look here, we're going to get back to the line again, see if we can get 5-6 laps and maybe get some green flag racing.
Frankenfield and Weeks going way down there. Funny thing here, Weeks went all the way down, Chris, and that actually triggered on my system telling me that somebody was entering the pits. So Matthew Weeks going extremely far off the racetrack.
The wall.
Ethan
if you're going to cut it, you might as well get all of it out of it.
Absolutely. If I was racing this track, as we'll watch Matthew Weeks here going all the way down, I would be doing the same thing as well. The one thing you got to be careful with, of course, aside from that re-entry that can be a little bit sketchy, but when you dive down to the inside, Chris, I know you know this as well as I do, there's a big weight balance shift when you go from racetrack. Oh, Scott Crump.
He's going to save it.
Wow.
What a save by Scott Crump. I think he got turned by his teammate there.
Holy moly. That was...
I mean, there's still 3 wide down in here, too. Scott's still
Chris,
trying to get it
that was
out.
wild. That was contact from Tyler Fody into the Scott Crump machine.
And I think what happened there, I was about to bring it up. Fody and Weeks were racing each other really hard, and they have not been happy with each other this season. That's been a new rivalry that has taken...
I wouldn't even say that that's a new rivalry, Chris. I would say that's a 2023 calendar year rivalry that's really heated up, but especially this season more. So, yes, in that regard, absolutely. I think there's been a lot more.
They turned that burner up. It was on a slow. I don't want
to say beef because that just sounds like we're in high school. But there's a lot more beef between Pro Edge and Lake Norman this season than what we've had before. I mean, they added Scott Crump, they added Ethan Stanley. Typically, Pro Edge was the team of stacked drivers. You had your Matthew Weeks, your R.C. Andersons, your David Tookers, Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle. Those drivers all were typically up front. Now you have L&M with Fody, Stanley, Crump, Gavel, I don't even know who else do they have. Massey in this race. So it definitely changes things a little bit.
I thought Massey drove for you.
Not in this series. In this series,
so how does that crossover feel for you?
I'm okay with it. Actually, if you just give me one moment here, Chris, I have to step away real quick. If you could take over.
Yeah, as we look here, taking a look right now, still got Justin Fuller out front, pulling away over Braxton DeWeese, Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, Chad Frankenfield. Everybody up front, single file. First real battle you got is back around Scott Crump. Gerald Campbell gets a piece of the wall. Scott's trying to get some of his momentum back here.
Well, Chris, one thing I just want to point out there, Gerald Campbell nearly got involved in a big one with Jesse Racimus, and I think that was Trey Idson that was on the inside there. They nearly came together. Thanks for covering there as I just stepped away quickly.
No problem.
Justin Fuller, the leader. I want to point out our quick...
Oh, we got somebody... Who is that just hit the wall? Gavin Higgins just smacked the wall off the turn.
Yeah, so Higgins is actually among our biggest movers thus far. He had to start at the tail of the field due to a banner violation, which, to be fair, I kind of want to argue that fact, but I was advised...
I think he changed it after already. I think it was too late, but I do see that's not an elite banner on this car.
See, and the one I'm seeing is, so that's funny.
I see an Xfinity banner. Like
actually, that might be last year's. That might be last. Anyways, so Gavin had to start at the rear of the field due to a banner violation. He's worked his way up to 22nd, so he's actually up 13 spots. Biggest mover thus far, Kean Raleigh, currently up 18 positions, started 32nd, currently scored 14th, and chasing down that top 10. But I think we got to stay up here with this group from Braxton DeWeese, Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, and Chad Frankenfield. These four all together. They got Matthew Weeks and Scott Crump trying to chase them down. Frankenfield going way high. Interesting to see Frankenfield venturing out to the upper lane here. Sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes he tries different things and it works. Sometimes it doesn't. He did gain a spot on Ethan Burrell. Now Chad's going to dive down to the inside, currently running in fourth. So he is trying to catch that Tyler Fody machine. Jay Connor diving way down. He's trying to battle with Tyler Pop. Kean Raleigh, we mentioned him not too long ago, just behind them. And that's Johnny Thomas, the car just ahead. Belly Up Sports on board that machine as he gets a little bit bent out of shape.
Yeah, Belly Up Sports, great partner with Johnny Thomas and Erska over there. Go check them out. They got a podcast for everything from football to NASCAR there at Belly Up. So
they even got hockey, and hockey season just about to get underway. So check them out.
Yeah, hockey season about the NFL just started. NASCAR's playoff time.
NASCAR deep in the playoffs right now. Just a couple weeks to go, which is crazy.
They got some baseball. October's coming.
Yeah, and you're going to see a couple guys that, you might have seen here in Elite over on some of those podcasts. I know David Westergreen, Damian Leininger are involved, I believe, in a baseball podcast, Bat Flip.
Yeah, Bat Flip, yep.
So you check those guys out. Johnny Thomas, he makes appearances from time to time, and a couple other guys might work their way on there. Scott Crump as well, Stay Tuned Sports.
My personal favorite over there is Chairgaten with Rattlesnake.
Oh, yeah, that's your boy.
That's a great group of guys over there. They got some great NASCAR knowledge to drop on you.
He joined us earlier this season, did he not?
Yeah, he joined us for a race. Yeah, I believe it was Bristol.
Yeah. Does he want to join us for 500 more on Wednesday? Probably not.
I can't speak for him, but I'm going to say, yeah, like you said, probably not.
As we see a battle here, Kean Raleigh getting by Jay Connor, move Raleigh.
And here goes Chad, right here. Chad
12,
wide down
Frankenfield down on the inside of
Oh,
Tyler Fody.
Contact.
Fody backed out of it a little bit there, but he's not given much space to Chad Frankenfield, which, you know what, he doesn't need to. Frankenfield
Okay,
putting
we
his
can do it
car
again.
in some tight spots. Frankenfield known for his aggression level, and that aggression level showing right now. Tyler Fode dives down to the inside. Fode and Deweese battling for second. Frankenfield trying to get in there, as is Ethan Burrell. Burrell currently holding on to that fifth spot. This might look like the battle, but Justin Fuller, he's the leader. He's out front by a second and a half, so that's why we're focusing here on second through fifth, as these guys are all under a blanket right now.
And I just want to say here, like 200 laps, this is the one thing where people have a problem with Chad. We're on lap 29 when he made that move. He's diving in 3 wide on lap 29 out of 200 when they're already running in the top 5. That's what frustrates a lot of people with some of the stuff Chad does.
I'm not saying, Chris, that he shouldn't try to make aggressive moves, because you absolutely should. Of course, that's your right. That's if you feel like you're able to, definitely do it. But like you mentioned, really early in this race, and if you don't need to put it in there 3 wide, don't put it in there 3 wide.
Yeah, just a lot of these guys, you know, they want a little bit more give and take across the board on some of these longer races. And like you said, it was Ethan Burrell, real loose off of turn 2 there. But a lot of these guys just want some give and take out of Chad on lap 30. Like right there, Tyler Fode would have probably appreciated it if he didn't take him 3 wide. Now, it didn't work for Chad, but it could have wrecked all 3 of them.
In essence, it probably did hurt Chad more than he actually gained in that, as he's scrubbing his tires a little bit more, trying to make these aggressive moves. And at the end of it,
there's no penalty either for driving across the apron every time.
No, absolutely
not. If these guys
not.
want to, they can come across and drive on the apron.
And to be fair, you're probably going to see it. You're probably going to see it more as the tires wear out. If we get a Chad, whoa, he got a little bit sideways there. But as the tires do wear out, you're likely to see these drivers go down to that apron more and more, because that gives them a little bit more wiggle room rather than risking pushing up to that outside wall, ending up wrecking the car.
As the tires wear, they're going to do it less, because it really.
See,
if you
I
watch
would do it
when
more.
When a car cuts the apron, it really upsets the entry into turn 3. It really frees up your entry into 3, and it's really going to, as Chad's going to get the piece of the wall there. But there's no deterrent from making you do it, because you don't pick up damage driving across the apron, and it's real bumpy down there.
So
but in the Cup car, the next gen car, we actually pick up damage driving across that bump.
I want to point out a couple drivers here that I might have expected to be running a little bit closer to the front. I don't have them as being involved in anything thus far, but taking a look back here at 20th position, John Cutlip scored in 20th, Garrison Hogan 21st. Neither driver's really done a ton of moving forward. Hogan's up 8 spots, right, but I think they're kind of trapped.
Massey, Trey Holmes, David Tooker, Cutlip, Garrison Hogan.
Massey right there.
They're just running there.
It's just kind of like they have nowhere to go. As Brandon Ultra has come to pit road, he's going to be the first one to pit under green here. Rory Collins comes as well, but Collins fixing up a bit of damage on that machine. So kind of interesting to see Brandon Ultra down pit road. This is his first stop of the day, so about 37 laps on those tires. Maybe we're approaching that point where we might see more of these guys come down.
Based on what I'm seeing, they have 6 sets tonight, and they can still run about 50 laps probably. You're looking.
Yeah, so we're not really looking like we're not looking too much like these guys are gonna opt to come down too soon.
Yeah, you're looking at lap 90.
And you said 6 sets of tires?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna want to save sets for towards the end of the race. I don't think you're gonna go through 6 sets today, especially if you do run through the tank of fuel, and 90 laps will align with the stages that are set out here tonight, so you can make it to the end of the stage.
I
then
believe
come
we
down.
have a stage in 5 laps, 6 laps right here, right?
See, that's what Chad said in the server. Actually, 60, 60, and 80 are showing as the distances for the stages. in the information Chad sent out. So if the information is correct, we're 20 away. If Chad's message in the server is correct, we're 5 laps away.
Yeah, that's some information that we could use, I guess, right?
Absolutely. We're going to step away real quick. We're going to get that information, and we'll be back in about 1 minute time, so don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And Chris, we are back. We just got an update from Chad Frankenfield. Stage will end at the end of lap 45, so we are coming up on that first stage.
Yeah, we're coming up on it real quick here, and I don't think there's going to be a challenge for the lead. Justin Fuller, I believe, is going to win the stage.
Yeah, Fuller should win the stage easily over Tyler Fody. Leads by about 2 seconds now over Fody. Deweese in third, Frankenfield fourth, Burrell fifth. Then it's Weeks, Crump, Norgard, Eidson, and Raleigh. That's the top 10. Kudos again to Kean Raleigh. He's up 22 spots from the start of this race, and he's got himself in stage point territory right now as we're going to come around and face 1 to go in the stage. There will be no stage cautions.
Yeah, no cautions, but stage points here.
And we do have some movement here around that 10th and 9th position. Raleigh up to 9th. Stanley back to 10th as Fuller going to come around. He's going to claim stage number 1.
Fuller, I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or not, but he's running way up the track down there in 3 and 4. He has moved this line way up. Yeah, he's doing it on purpose. Look at that. He's running right up there at that top seam and then turning down across. It's a very unique line. It's like the line that they ran here when they had the sticky stuff and the VHT that they put down to help try to widen these racetrack lanes and give these guys more lanes to race in. That is not on iRacing. That is not on the service. So that is very unique.
Yeah, it is definitely a unique line, but it could be a comfort thing as well for Justin Fuller. I mean, it's clearly working, Chris. He's ahead by just over 2 seconds, so.
Yeah, I'm curious if Tyler Fody is seeing it. Maybe we're going to try to replicate it. Fody's a smart guy. If he sees something working for somebody else, he's going to at least try it once and see if he likes it.
To be fair, Fody's not really seeing much of Justin Fuller. Fuller
He
looking
is.
slow.
Look at that. Fody's
Actually,
doing
yeah,
the
he
same
is
thing.
now. Yeah, Fody actually closing. It looks like he's closing the gap a little bit, but then again, no, not really.
Yeah, that's a very unique line that if somebody's not running up at the front close enough to see it, they're not going to see it to be able to try to replicate it. But
Chris,
Chad Frankenfield.
Chad.
Wow.
That was a big slide.
You know why I think Chad is struggling right there?
Because
Nobody
he saw
cut the
those
apron.
guys in his mirror and he got spooked.
Nobody cut the apron as much as Chad did. And that really makes you loose into turn 3 when you drive across the apron and you blend back up and you have to yank the wheel right back to the left because you're working right. That really is going to wear the right rear out. And I think that's what Chad has done. He's worn the right rear out. you do not want to cut that apron any more than you have to for that reason right there. It really puts you in a tough spot on a longer run on the right rear tire.
See the lane that Chad Frankenfield's running here. Oh, that was a big hit to the outside wall for Frankenfield. His Nesquik machine isn't going to be too quick no more, as he just nailed that wall again. Frankenfield pushing a little bit too hard at this point, I think, and he has to back it down just a little bit. You don't need to be going 110% at this point in the race.
Yeah, and I wonder if Chad's thinking right now, if he understands why he's in the spot he's in. You know, if he does, he's not going to cut the apron nearly as much anymore. You know, you still kind of got to the first lap or two after a restart if you're in a spot. But we saw him, you know, he cut it every time for like the first 15 laps of the run. So,
bit of a battle here, Chris. Nick Massey just ahead of Johnny Thomas and Trey Holmes. 3-car battle for position number 14. Massey currently holding that spot, and just behind them, Garrison Hogan starting to creep his way forward. Hogan's
those three right there, Massey, Holmes, and Garrison, they're moving up through here together right now. We talked about how they went nowhere earlier. Well, all of a sudden, everybody who was cutting the apron and being real aggressive at the start of the race.
These three are good at saving tires, Chris, and that's something that is coming into play now. They have that extra bit of rubber that some of these other guys don't necessarily have, and it's starting to work out for them, as I see a battle towards the rear as well. It's Gavin Higgins with Joe Francis and Michael Hosick. Those drivers all together. Goody, Michael Goodman just behind them. And again, shout out to Mrs. Goody's Goodies. Check them out for all of your goodies that you might need. Hooded towels and etc. We'll get their sponsor readout to you a little bit later. But that's Chris's girlfriend.
That's right. Had a great conversation with Goody about that, who's out there driving a Green Bay Packer car tonight, so I'm not a big fan of that. We got to get some black and orange tiger stripes on that car.
To be fair, he is from Wisconsin. He's got to rep the home state team. As we have a swap for position, actually a battle for position, and these two don't have the greatest of friendships. Chad Frankenfield and Scott Crump.
And I think Scott sees how much he's struggling too.
Absolutely. You see some of these guys back out of it a little bit more than their counterparts, and it seems to be working better for some and a bit worse for others, as Crump tries to close that gap again on Frankenfield. Kean Raleigh closing the gap on those two ahead of him. He's up 24 spots, currently scored in that 8th position. And just an update for those of you at home, currently out of today's race, Seth Rawls, Jaden Racimus, Rory Collins, and Brandon Ultra, all done for the evening.
Yeah, we've seen Jeff Green get the nose ripped off his car. He's still out here plugging away. Oh, is that Nick Massey coming to pit road?
Nick Massey to pit road. Massey in the 48 opts to come down from the 14th position. He's going to come to the attention of his pit crew. Oh, we got an incident out here on the racetrack. That's Dave Carpenter. Wherever Dave Carpenter is. Maybe it's not Dave Carpenter. No, Dave Carpenter not here. Somebody looking like Dave Carpenter was just involved in something. They were nearly sideways. Was that Braxton DeWeese, maybe? I think it might have been. I think it might have been Braxton DeWeese. Just looking at the red and black on that machine. Kind of looks like Dave Carpenter just a little bit from a distance. So he's currently running 3rd, getting a little bit more slideways with each and every lap. The battle between Crump, Frankenfield, and now Raleigh continues. That is 6th through 8th. It's Frankenfield up top, Crump down low, and Raleigh hanging right back behind them. Nick Massey.
Oh, Dave Carpenter, or Dustin Dewar, Michael Goodman. Something just happened between Goodman and the 06 there. Oh,
maybe
Scott
it's
Crump's
Dusty.
Also, Scott Crump and Chad Frankenfield.
Gavin Higgins also involved in one here.
Wow, we got a lot going on right here. Goodman just knocked the rear end off of somebody. Crump and Frankenfield just bounced off each other, and Crump had to make a big save.
Johnny Thomas to pit road. Gavin Higgins missing his rear bumper. Wow.
Wow is right.
So that was an eventful lap there. Casey Hatch getting pushed way up the racetrack.
Whole lot going on right there.
So one thing to note here, Chris, these guys can go to the end of this particular stage for the most part on fuel from your earlier estimation. I'm not sure if it's still accurate at this point.
Oh, I don't think they're going to get to 90. I think they can only get to about 85.
So you're going to see guys come down soon then. So they do have that additional bit of fuel when it comes to the end of this particular stage, which is going to come up end of lap number 90.
Yeah, I think that's why you've seen a guy like Nick Massey really take a chance there.
Battles
He's
on
here
for
for wins.
sixth, Chris. It's Kean Raleigh on the inside of Chad Frankville. Jeff Green just came down pit road once again. His car looking like a modified. Contact between Raleigh and Frankenfield for sixth.
We've seen him pick up a ton of damage there.
Yeah, he was involved in one of the early incidents of the day. As Raleigh and Frankenfield together again. Wow, caution's out. Johnny Thomas.
Johnny just pitted, did he not?
Johnny Thomas was behind Kean Raleigh, dove to the inside. And his car just went for a little bit of a slide. That's it. No damage, but he was just fresh off of a pit stop on lap number 60. So just fresh into his run here. Johnny Thomas on lap number 65. All right, we're going to take a chance here, Chris, to step away, take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll take you to the end of stage number 2 right here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
All right, and we are back here at Phoenix International Raceway for tonight's Mrs. Goody's 200. Justin Fuller, the leader, alongside Tyler Fody, Braxton DeWeese, Ethan Burrell, row number 2, Matthew Weeks, Chad Frankenfield in row number 3 as we get set to go green. Once again, great jump by Justin Fuller and Braxton DeWeese on the inside. That outside lane caught sleeping once again.
Here they go, all of them across the apron again. Down into the first turn. 3 wide, Jay Canor, Garrison Hogan. I believe that's Tyler Pop. Coming down here, we can get a lap in. Scott Crumps lost some track position here. We saw him struggling. We also saw Scott and Chad get together there, and one of those parties was not happy about the contact.
Definitely not.
Well, wrecking there, the 22's
Casey
around.
Hatch involved. Oh, Casey was okay. Andrew Hardcastle goes around. We are under caution once again, like you mentioned. Chris will take a peek.
He just loops it around.
Yeah,
Great job by everybody else.
Wow. That was an easy one there. Andrew Hardcastle just went around by himself, and unfortunately tally for him on lap 70.
And I just want to go ahead and say this for all of our people watching. Hit them with a quick hoo-day right here as the Bengals game has just kicked off. So we sit here, lap 71, 20 laps short of the stage. There'll be another stage break in 20 laps. Well, no stage break, just another stage end in 20 laps. And I do have some information to share with you, Robert.
I love information, Christopher.
I believe tonight, what is the race sponsor?
Mrs. Goody's Goodies.
And I believe I'm not sure if this information is right, but I believe there's a bowling alley, and they have a drinking game that they play for every lead change.
Oh. So they're not drinking too much right now.
Yeah. This is a solid bet tonight. The house is winning on that one.
Absolutely. And, you know, obviously they would have loved to have more drinks, but I don't think we've had a lead change yet, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unfortunately, I don't have that data either, but I'm pretty sure everyone pit on that caution. Nobody has stayed out yet. Fuller started on the pole, has run up front all night long. Nobody else has taken the top spot. So, yeah, no lead changes yet. So, if you are at the bowling, I think it's Memory Lanes they're talking about, Chris. If you're at Memory Lanes and if Randy Big Balls Walters is hanging out in his retirement there, no free drinks for you. But Chris, obviously, about 17 laps away from the stage. So we're getting closer and closer to that point where from there on out, nothing else up for grabs except for the win of the race.
Yeah, we're coming up on that stage end, like you mentioned, so it's going to get crazy. Where's Chad? Say the word crazy. You got to go and find Chad.
Frankenfield currently in that 5th spot. He's on the inside, Chris, so expect some 3 wide just as soon as he crosses the start-finish line. Because, again, you're not allowed to dip below the start-finish line below the yellow line prior to crossing the start-finish line.
Well, here we go once again. I'm going to try this restart again. Everybody's got to stay in line until the line, and then they can cross that yellow line.
I just want to share an
nuts.
update here with you quickly, Chris. The 15 of Frankenfield has just been issued a warning for blinking, as we've had a couple of blinking issues with his machine over the last handful of laps. So 15 under a blinking warning. So that's something we'll keep an eye on as we go forward.
Yeah, that's an interesting tidbit of information.
So somebody
Once
getting
again.
upset at Mark. That's Ethan Stanley back there.
Yeah, Ethan's kind of been struggling with pace here the last few weeks.
Well, Ethan was caught up in some issues earlier as these guys are going so far
Gerald
down.
Campbell gets into the wall.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell having himself actually a decent run. He's up 9 spots from the start of the race. Currently scored in 16th as
He's having a
Rebilas stuck
great
in the
run
wall.
after being involved in that lap 1 accident.
Absolutely, as he's on the outside of Jesse Racimus. Trey Holmes just ahead of him as well. Those drivers trying to work their way forward. Garrison Hogan, he's up in the top 10. We mentioned him earlier. He's up 22 spots. But the biggest mover continues to be the 68 of Kean Raleigh. Raleigh up 27 spots on the day. Nearly hit the outside wall right there as Tyler Fody takes a dive to the inside of Kean Raleigh.
Yeah, and everybody's got new tires on. They know the stage end's coming here in about 15.
Here goes Chad. Chad down to all the way down to the bottom. As he tucks in behind Justin Fuller, Matthew Weeks going for the race lead as we're going to come around this time. And Matthew Weeks takes over the race lead. Memory lanes get the booze
we're
out.
wrecking
It's
Jesse
time
Rasmus,
to drink
Ethan
as
Stanley.
Jesse goes out. Oh, that's
Michael
a big one.
Hosick, Goodman's going to be in there.
Jesse Racimus in that one. I believe Ethan Stanley might have just taken claim of that incident. We'll take a peek.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He came down and got him. Dustin Brewer does a great job. So does Nick Massey.
Michael
Hosick and Goody get
Hosick
some
and
damage.
Goody, not a ton, but that 70, his rear end hanging off of that thing. Let's take another peek here on the lap 78 incident. See what we can get here from our... What camera do we want to go to? Let's go... well, we're going to use that one where you see Jesse Racimus going around. Contact from the 92 of Ethan Stanley on lap 78.
Yeah, not in a fuel window. The fuel window doesn't open up for about another 40 laps. 30 laps maybe. 30, 40, something like that. But we are going to have a short little run here for the stage now. And that was our first lead change. So for those of you playing the drinking game.
Matthew Weeks, Justin Fuller, Johnny Thomas getting the wave around, by the way. Chad Frankville third, Braxton DeWeeth fourth, and Kean Raleigh in fifth. Then it's Garrison Hogan, Leighton Norgod, Tyler Popp, Jay Connor, and Scott Crump, the top 10. Under the last caution, you did hear from our friends at TA Services as well as iRacing.com. TA Services, one of our great premier partners here in the Elite Racing League, along with Worldwide Technology Raceway. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex, and a quarter-mile drag strip. Check them out today in Madison, Illinois. And our friends at Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan, and they just brought you the latest caution, courtesy of Ethan Stanley. And of course, Chris, why don't you remind us once again of our great race sponsor here tonight, Mrs.Goody's Goodies.
Yeah, that Mrs. Goodies, everything from it's handmade items, hooded towels, whatever you need, you get in touch with Mrs. Goodies, and she will get it for you. And you can reach out to her. I'm sure you can find Michael Goodman on Twitter. Reach out to him. Your message will get delivered one way or another. I don't have the information about the location or whatnot where you can find Mrs. Goodies. Do you have that information, Robert?
Unfortunately, that was not provided to me in the information earlier. I'm going to see if I can grab that, though, taking a look through. But Chris, oh, here we go. Mrs. Goodies has hooded towels and handmade items for babies, kids, you, and your home. Look them up on Facebook today, Mrs. Goodies.
There you go.
Just 8 laps to go in the stage. It'll be lap 90 coming to 91. Will end the stage. Weeks taking the inside here. Fuller on the outside. Frankenfield, DeWeese, row number 2. Hogan, Raleigh, row 3. Norgard, Pop, row 4. Connor, Crump, row 5 as we're getting set to go green once again.
Very curious to see what Chad Frankenfield's going to do here.
Here we go. Matthew Weeks, the control car on the inside with Frankenfield just behind him. Like you mentioned, Chris, going to be interesting to see what that second row does. Frankenfield blinking once again as Weeks gets a great jump.
Yeah, I think Chad blinked right as the green was coming out there.
I just heard reports of 5 wide, so... Oh, we got issues. Nice save by Trey Holmes. Wow.
Looks good. Everybody got through.
Nick
Somehow.
Massey just got into the wall here, Chris. Not sure if you saw that. He was on the outside of Tyler Fody and hit the wall.
Oh, Chad
we're
Frankenfield.
Chad Reckenfield is around. And we'll take a look.
Oh, wow. Key and Raleigh just went down in there. Got Chad. Got Norgard. Bunch of cars.
Wow.
I don't know if Chad knew he was there.
Kean got Chad and Braxton there. Wow. So we
All
have,
of a sudden, man,
we have about
it got
5 to
crazy.
go. Yeah. Chris, we went from lap 8 to 65 with no cautions. And now 65, 70, 78, 83, we've had cautions.
It sounds about right. Par for the course.
So taking a look at the top 10 now, as we're getting close to the stage, it's going to be Weeks, Fuller, Hogan, Norgard, Pop, the top 5. Yes, Tyler Pop now in the top 5. Jay Connor, Scott Crump, Trey Eidson, John Cutlip, Tyler Fody, the top 10.
And right behind them, Nick Massey pitted under green earlier. Got trapped lap down, got the wave around, had to restart at the back, and through all of this calamity, he has managed to miss everything, and is currently running 11th.
So Kean Raleigh's argument here, Chris, we're going to be transparent with the fans at home. Raleigh is arguing that on the latest incident, he's been running the same line all night long, and it has worked every time for him.
I would say he would have a leg to stand on if he didn't continue going up the racetrack and getting to the side of somebody else as well, the car on the outside. So
Absolutely.
obviously that car didn't make the corner. So I mean, he really had. In my opinion, you don't have an argument when you go down in there.
No,
Wipe one guy out, slide up into another guy, and spin yourself
that's
off.
the thing. I mean, if it was borderline, then maybe. But
if he held his line on the bottom
that was
after the
full
contact,
on, brother.
yeah, but like
That was full. Actually, someone just said shake and bake. Did you see the paint schemes for Storehouse Racing this week?
I did.
That's badass. We can say that
Yeah.
word. We can say that word. That's TV
The
appropriate. As we're going
unfortunate thing
green.
is it's two guys who probably won't run worth anything. I mean, it is Dega, so I guess anybody can run good at Dega, but that's
Hey,
two
I've
drivers
won
who
races
have-
at Dega before. Anyone can win at Dega. Ooh, Tyler Pop. I thought we were going green right there, and I was going to say Tyler Pop with a terrible start, but he's okay as we're getting set to go green. Matthew Weeks, the control car on the inside. Once again, Fuller on the outside. Green flags out. We're back on our way. Great jump by Weeks. Nearly a lane change by Weeks. That was very close, Chris.
Wrecking in the back, Mark Rebilas. Oh, we're wrecking at the front too. Scott Crump, Leighton Norgard. What happened after the caution came out?
Wow.
Let's see what happened here. So I think.
All right, so
the
top
incident
10
for
in the
caution,
stage here, Chris. You can walk us through that. Is on
Gavin
the
Higgins
update,
just turned
the
left
top
on
10.
Mark Rebilas. Chad Frankenfield gets caught up in that. I'm trying to figure out when the caution comes out for when this incident happens down here in turn 3.
All right, we're going to go ahead and pull that up. Yellow flag is out.
Mark Rebilas is the yellow.
We'll take a look. Yeah, that is Rebilas into the 04. And that will be the time of caution as well. And then there was one towards the front as well with Crump. Oh, okay, right there. That was kind of a cluster around Norgard, Crump. I'd sent into Norgard up at the front, and that led to that one.
Yeah, I think right as the caution was coming out, they made contact. So I don't think you can rule anything happening there under caution. I mean, they didn't know caution was coming. No, that's not.
And then the one a little bit.
Mark shouldn't get the tally there.
$99, but let's take a look.
No, the color on his outside just came straight down into him. He doesn't have to cut the racetrack.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Nonetheless, that
No, I was wrong.
ended the stage. We're still about 20 laps outside the fuel window. 25.
That was my bad, Chris. I mixed the two cars up there. It was Higgins into Rebilas to bring out that caution. Top 10 for that stage, by the way. Matthew Weeks, Justin Fuller, Garrison Hogan, Tyler Papa, Leighton Norgard, Scott Crump, Jay Connor, John Cutlip, Tyler Fody, Nick Massey. As we get set to go green once again. And this will just be straight to the end here. No additional stages as we get set to go green.
Green is out. Scott Crump gets a bad start on the inside lane.
We have a bit of a cluster back here. That is Tyler Pop in the middle. We're going to go up to the chopper cam. Scott Crump.
Oh, yeah, we're wrecking. Scott Crump.
Oh, John Cutlip popping over.
Nick Massey's in it. Jay Connor. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my Lord. That was wild. That was wild.
You know, I think that might be a racing deal. Just three. The 9 got loose on the outside, but Scott came up pretty far to pinch him for 3 wide too.
Realistically, Chris, you know what it looks like to me? Tyler Pop was the only innocent one in that. Crump comes up, Connor comes down, multiple cars involved. John Cutlip went up and over. That is a racing deal. I do agree with you on that. We gotta watch John Cutlip in that one.
Nick Massey tried to pick his way through there, couldn't do it.
Oh my.
Ethan Stanley involved, Michael Goodman, the 27, the 35. Scott Crump not happy, but I mean, he was the car on the inside that came up too. You know, like, you can't get mad at people for racing when you kind of helped create the accident, in my opinion.
Yeah, these drivers not too pleased, Chris, with each other. John Cutlip, man, he went for a roll. Yes,
yeah,
Matthew Weeks
it's hard to get mad too. Like, I can understand the frustration, but you really can't get mad when you're one of the cars that helped create the accident. You know, gotta have some give and take.
It's unfortunate that all those cars got involved. I mean, realistically, Chris, we kind of just lost half the field. We have a lot of cars getting damage repaired on pit road. A bunch of them are still going to come back out, but effectively the race might kind of be done. And just an update, because we do like to share this info. Meatball flag, so required damage for Scott Crump, John Cutlip, Jay Connor, and Tyler Pop.
Yeah, it's been a long night for some of these boys. I'm not sure if it's going to get much shorter.
I mean, realistically, with half these cars out of the race, it should.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it will. What should happen and what's going to happen are two different things.
Point out a couple drivers, Chris, that Dustin Durr just got. Oh, what happened?
I believe we just had a wreck under caution. Dustin Durr just went out under caution.
Now, has that extended the yellow?
Yes, it did extend the yellow.
So that's going to be a tally then.
And I believe he should get an EOL now too, right? Isn't that how that works?
That is correct.
Not good for Dusty. Hasn't had a great night.
So that
and
one's
now,
that one's a tally and an EOL, Chris.
not an ideal situation. We're going to try this again as we approach the halfway point of the race.
As we get set to go green.
Ooh, that was close on Garrison.
All right, and we are back underway. I had to clear a couple black flags.
I believe we should be giving a penalty to Garrison Hogan here.
Let's take a look.
Restart violation.
We're gonna have to take a look because there has been a couple that have been very, very questionable thus far.
I believe he was for sure below that yellow line before the line. Yeah, I just looked at it. Yeah, definite restart violation on Garrison Hogan there.
Chris, I'm gonna let that one slide since we're under. Oh, he just wrecked anyways. Under caution. What the hell just happened?
Oh man, we just had something happen.
Uh,
The lobby just broke here.
we're gonna go under caution. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back here at Phoenix, Chris, and wow, we just had a server glitch here, and that led to a couple cars being absolutely destroyed. That's wild, man. That was wild. What just happened?
He extended the yellow to let everybody get caught up.
What? We're going to go back to commercial here, guys. I apologize for that, but we are under a rain delay. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back. We are still working through a lot of issues that I don't know that are necessarily resolved yet as we're getting ready to go green.
Chris,
Green
if I'm
is
honest
out.
with you, I have no idea what's going on right now as we're going green.
I have some idea over what's getting ready to happen.
To be fair, I got a feeling that it's not going to be a good rest of the race for the 15.
Fuller's back out front, so we had another lead change.
Yeah, Justin Fuller, your leader.
Got some racing back here in the pack. Got some guys moving through the field. The whole outlook of this race totally changed. I mean, this is unprecedented. Me and Robert aren't saying a whole lot right now. We're trying to just kind of.
There's a lot going on right now, guys. I mean, you see the top 10 right now. Aside from the top 2, the rest of them haven't really been there tonight. David Tooker, Joe Francis, Kynan Jones, the top 5. Then Massey, Holmes, Higgins, Goodman, Dewar up in the top 10. Dustin Dewar spun out under caution not long ago.
This race is totally taken on it's just.
This is wild.
This is incredible, and it's not anybody's fault.
This was a server issue, technical issue that's kind of unprecedented. That's the thing. Like, we don't have necessarily a protocol for this situation.
And now, how much did we see before we threw it to commercial? Because what happened was we had a bunch of guys lag out who were still here. The server kind of did a hard crash, and people drove through people who weren't here.
So we were watching the front at the time of the caution, and Fody drove through Hogan. Which
and it was because
Fody
the caution had came out at the worst possible time. And so those people who were lagging out didn't get the caution. It was still green. And calamity broke out here. And now we've got the race for the lucky dog. Tyler Fody, Jesse Razimus. I mean, these guys are laps down. Ethan Burrell, Gerald Campbell, Scott Crump lost 10 laps. Of course, he was in that wreck. That's how he lost his laps.
I apologize again that Chris and I keep kind of stepping away for brief seconds. We're just trying to figure out what exactly is going on with everything here. We're trying to make sure that it's not happening again as we go along through this one. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that are not happy with each other right now. And one thing I want to point out, Chris, in regards to that is, where are we going the next 2 days? We're going to Bristol.
A trip to Tennessee, yeah.
We're going to Bristol. If these guys aren't happy with each other, Bristol's probably a place where you may see some extra hits or less space for the competitors.
Well, and one thing I think too, people are going to understand it more when it's over. Like, they're going to understand this wasn't anybody's fault. I don't look for a lot of carryover from that necessarily.
I wouldn't either, as we just got a report Garrison Hogan calling it a night.
It's been a rough night for Garrison.
He was having a good night. He was up in the top 3 when the server crashed, and unfortunately Mr. Fody had driven through him. Of course, Tyler could not have controlled the car at that point. The server was crashing on him. There was nothing he could have really done. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, and Garrison understood that. He was not frustrated in the slightest.
No, he was frustrated, but it was more situational frustration rather than...
Yeah, he wasn't mad at Fody. He understood the situation.
That's it. He wasn't mad at Tyler. He was mad at the fact that the server crashed out on him. That's the thing. Taking a look, Joe Francis running up in the top 5. Doing a nice job. Got the barbecue chips on board that machine. Kynan Jones. I'm going to give Kynan a shout out here, okay? He's one of my drivers. Yes, absolutely. But hey, he's he's still up here in the top 10. Of course, the server issues played a little bit of a part in that, but he's kept that machine clean here through the first 120 laps.
Yeah, and one car that's all of a sudden joined the fray up here at the front. Nick Massey. We saw him get a piece of that big wreck on the front stretch, fix a bunch of damage, then everything that took place.
Yeah, I want to point out the 90 here, Chris, of Scott Crump. That machine heavily damaged still, and he's falling through the field. He did come out after getting some damage repaired, and now he's falling back through the field. Chad Frankenfield and company quickly approaching that car. Unfortunate for Crump, and he's one that's definitely not too pleased with the situation here tonight either. But like you said, I think once the drivers get out of the car, have a chance to absorb what actually happened, they'll be okay.
Yeah, it's just getting to that point.
As we take a look, a bunch of cars a lap or more down that are actually still in fairly decent position. You look at a guy like Ethan Burrell, that car in pretty good shape. I believe he's about 2 laps down. 2 laps down at this point for Ethan Burrell. So we'll see if he can work his way back. Gerald Campbell also in that same situation. They're going to need a couple of lucky dogs or wave arounds at this point if they want to work their way back. But battle brewing up here for the lead. Justin Fuller currently holds the spot. Matthew Weeks closing that gap. And, you know, we mentioned Justin Vandermeerl earlier, JV Designs. That's the sponsor on board the Matthew Weeks number 11 machine. That's a nice looking ride there for Weeks as he's approaching the back of that 55 Kmart car, about to try to put a pass on Justin Fuller.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to do it. Real stacked up here about, I don't know, right around the 27 machine. That's what, around 10th there?
Yeah, 27 of DeWeese currently scored in 9th. You can see the stack behind them here. Couple drivers not too pleased in the Elite Twitter chat as we see the 0-4 of Gavin Higgins dive down to the inside to try to get by Braxton DeWeese. This might get a little bit hairy here as he chops off the nose of the Ethan Stanley 92 machine. Stanley dives back to the inside. Higgins up on the high side as the battle for the lead closes up about 0.2 of a second between Weeks and Fuller. We're going to switch up there now, take a peek. It's staying pretty steady as Tooker closing that gap with Nick Massey just behind him as well, and Joe Francis rounding up the top 5. Then it's Kynan Jones, Trey Holmes, Braxton DeWeese, Ethan Stanley, and Gavin Higgins. And then behind them we have a do-good battle here. We got the do and Dustin Doer and the good and Michael Goodman. Currently scored in position 11 and 12 out here on the racetrack, 44 and 32.
Oh, we got a blanker here on the front stretch. Dustin Doer was doing his best.
Yeah, Dustin
Houdini.
Doer already under a blinking warning. Not really in an area right now that'll necessarily cause too much of an issue. But hopefully he can get that sorted out, especially before Wednesday. Because at this point, I think he'll be okay in this one as Michael Goodman, goes to the outside of Gavin Higgins. Contact.
Well, and I know Dusty's got some weather. I think that's kind of what's bringing this on. So
Yeah,
maybe
and
he's
that
got
was
some satellite internet. I can't. I'm not sure.
To be fair, that contact between Goodman and Higgins there would look very much like netcode to me. They weren't really too close at all, and all of a sudden they were both sideways together. As we keep our eyes peeled out here on the track, looks like everyone's gotten into a bit of a line, bit of a rhythm. So that gives us a chance to take another commercial break, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes' time. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are
77.
back. We're under caution here. Conan Jones, Braxton Deweese.
Both cars got pretty significant damage there. I believe we are going to see pit stops here. It's going to be the last pit stop of the race, barring late cautions as Jordan Fuller leads the field down. A lot of those cars who lost laps when the lag out happened probably going to stay out and try to take a wave here. Long pit road here. Leader's just now getting over here. Weeks gets into his box. Here comes Fuller into his box. Let's see who wins the race off pit road. It looks like it's going to be Fuller, then Weeks, then Massey, Francis, Trey Holmes. Tooker must have had some damage to fix or something. Tooker lost a lot of track, but Tooker's just now getting out of pit road here. Jesse Razimus is going to take a wave. Mark Rebilas is going to take a wave. And that's going to get them back to 1 down, I think. Let's see. Let me wait for it to update.
All right, so Chris, just an update here. Lab 134 incident, as I know you heard for sure, was issued as a racing deal. 77 of Trey Idson slid up from the bottom up in front of the 85. 85 didn't necessarily react in time, leading to a bit of a domino effect where the 27 drove into it. So I issued that a racing deal. No real fault of anyone involved in that one.
Sounds good to me. So back to what I was saying about Jesse Rasmus. Going to take the wave around to get back on the lead lap, but he cannot go to the end without a pit stop. So he's going to be banking on another caution. I think he can run to about 15 or 20 to go. Mark Rebilas is going to get one of his laps back to get back to 1 down. He was 2 down. Ethan Burrell is going to get back to 1 down. He also was 2 down. Gerald Campbell going to go from 2 to 1. Trey Eitzen going to go from 2 to 1.
Yeah, a lot of
All
these
those cars,
drivers
though,
taking
need
advantage.
problems.
A lot of these guys taking advantage, as I didn't hit the right button there, taking advantage of the caution and getting a wave around to put themselves one step closer to being back into it. As the drivers come around.
So Tooker did have damage to fix. That's why he lost his track position there. Here we come. Down into turn 3. Fuller has the field. Green is out. Great jump for that inside line. He's going to pull Nick Massey through to P2. Oh, Joe Francis. Big wreck here. David Tooker. It's big.
Oh,
It's
that's
big off of
everybody.
turn 4. Gerald Campbell. Those guys that just took the wave around needed that. That's what they needed. Joe Francis just got loose, lost it. He's going to collect Trey Holmes, Tooker, Hosick,
Wow.
the 44. Frankenfield gets another piece of that.
We've just been asked to watch the replay of Ethan Burrell, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Watching the 37. Let's go in car. Holy moly, that was a good avoidance. Nice job by Ethan Burrell right there.
Man, it's just been one of those kind of races, guys. We already had dwindled down this field. Now we've lost a lot more, Mr. Hill.
So Joe Francis issued that tally, Chris, and it's a lot of yellows we've had so far. We are on the 11th caution of the day. Still a lot of laps to go. 60 to go, to be exact. I'd like to point out Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fody back on the lead lap. And I'd also like to point out the driver currently scored in position number 7, who's Mark Rebilas of Rebilas Photography, our series sponsor here.
How many cautions does that make for us tonight?
That's 11, Chris. We are on caution number 11. Caution 11 of the day. You want to hear something crazy, though? We have not had anyone with 2 tallies. We've had tallies issued to Jaden Racimus, Rory Collins, Johnny Thomas, Andrew Hardcastle, Ethan Stanley, Kean Raleigh, Gavin Higgins, Dustin Durr, and Joe Francis. There you go. Michael Goodman gonna take an EOL, folks. Just having some issues. So your top 10 now, Chris. Any big surprises for you here?
This race is a surprise, but I mean, yeah, of
you
course.
look at
with
the
everything
second half
that's
of the
happened,
top 10, right?
Look at 7th, 8th, 9th, like
Even 10th. He was involved in a couple big ones. That's wild.
it's been something, man. This race has been something.
Just Chad Frankenfield going to be way back from the field, but he should be up to full song when they come around this time. And actually, he's caught the field, so all good there. Scott Crump, Con, and Jones both leaving pit road now. They're going to come back out. Crump about 13 laps down.
Here we go. Green is out.
We're back underway. Justin Fuller with a good start.
And Weeks will go back to second place now. Dustin Dewar diving in 3 wide, trying to look underneath Tyler Fody.
Ethan Stanley back.
Oh, Mark Rebilas.
That was close, Chris.
That was pretty heavy hit on the inside wall.
Yeah, Mark Rebilas, unfortunately, with a good hit there. Gerald Campbell catching up to the Chad Frankenfield machine. He wasn't too pleased with Chad earlier. So we'll keep an eye on that as well, Chris. I don't think he's going to do anything because they are both not in terrible spots. Yeah, David Tooker into the outside wall. It's got Frankenfield on the inside. Burrell just behind them, as well as Hosick. Michael Hosick having himself a half-decent run here.
Nick taking the fight back to Weeks up here, trying to get second place back.
Yeah, what Nick is doing here is he's trying to push Weeks up the track just a little bit there. Not with force or contact or anything, but just kind of by indicating and putting his nose there. It's putting some dirty air on the rear end of the Matthew Weeks machine, which pushes him up just a tad, opens the door for Nick to get under there.
Oh, we got contact, Campbell and Frankenfield.
We'll keep an eye on this.
No wreck yet.
Frankenfield gets into the back of the Campbell machine. We're going to go up to our chopper cam. This might get hairy. No, we're not talking about Harrison Talon. We're talking about Harry. Oh, Gerald gets a little bit sideways. How do you think this is going to end here, Chris?
I don't know, man.
I don't think Chad's going to get back to Gerald here.
Yeah, Chad's he's really off pace, so.
Trey Eidson to his inside. Eidson currently a lap down in 17th. Only the top 15 on the lead lap currently, so the last car on the lead lap is Kynan Jones. I do believe. As Fuller has company, though, Matthew Weeks closing that gap. And Nick Massey as well, like you mentioned, Chris, right there with them. Goody guiding people through. His car looking a little bit worse for wear. Once again tonight, the Mrs. Goody's Goodies 200. Mrs. Goody's Goodies has hooded towels and handmade items for babies, kids, you, and your home. Check them out on Facebook today, Mrs. Goody's Goodies.
Right now, our front, Fody's back up here with the shot. Stanley's back up here. Nick Massey, Matthew Weeks, Jordan Fuller.
I wouldn't count much of these guys out. I mean, Dustin Dewar and Ethan Burrell, they're not far off of Ethan Stanley either. So this top 7 kind of all running together at this point. And then you have a little bit of gap back to Chad Frankenfield, who's running behind the Gerald Campbell. And I believe that was potentially Trey Idson there as well.
Now, I think we've went far enough where if a caution comes out, we might have some takers on pit road.
Yeah, last pit stop for these guys, most of them anywhere between 135 and 140. So, yeah, we're in the double-digit mark now, which to me, if I'm at that stage, I probably still have 2 sets of tires, maybe 3 left in the pits, more than likely 2. Yeah, I'd take a set with just 48 to go. Because the thing is, if you don't pit here, if we get a caution, say lap 159, we're about 40 to go, and all of a sudden we go green to the end from that restart, oh, you're on much older tires than everybody else, and you're likely not going to have a shot as slim as everyone else's shot is at this point anyways.
Yeah, and one thing, we don't know, are some of these guys thinking 2 tires might work. Lefts don't notoriously wear out that bad here.
I think a lot of it depends, too, on the damage that these guys have. Most of them do have some sort of damage, and that potentially could lead to extra wear on your left or right side tires, which could lead to maybe a second guess on some of those strategies as well.
Looks like the battle's about to be on here for P3. Fody's putting the pressure on Nick. And you mentioned they are teammates tonight, but
they are teammates, but guys like Fody, they're in this championship race. Massey hasn't necessarily run all the races.
And there goes Fody. Nick lets him.
Fody to the inside to get by Massey. Massey going to run right behind him. Those are teammates currently 3rd, 4th, and 5th out on the racetrack.
And they're about to get into some lap traffic right out in front of the leader, too.
Yeah, I believe that's Michael Goodman just ahead. And Goody himself has explained that his car kind of unpredictable at this point. As your leader, Justin Fuller, in 2nd place car, Matthew Weeks closed that gap on the Michael Goodman machine. Goodman goes way high.
Goody's still 15th. He's still a lead lap car.
That's it.
Well, not anymore.
No, well, now he's a lap down, but he's still trying to hold on to the lucky dog. As the field slices and dices their way by the Michael Goodman machine, looks like he's going to slide up nearly into the outside wall. The one thing here is, yeah, these guys got a little lucky. I mean, Ethan Burrell kind of got put off a little bit by the exit position of the Michael Goodman machine. I thought that was Trey Holmes. Not sure who that car was. Gavin Higgins in the outside wall as well. He's going another lap down. Yeah, these guys not having a very fun night, some of these drivers. Dustin Durr goes on by his teammate.
They come up on the Scott Crump machine, be the next car they catch.
Scott Crump, not always easy to get by this driver either, Chris.
I think as many laps down as he is, Scott's probably not going to be too difficult here. Yeah, Scott gives plenty of room to everybody. And right here for a brief moment, all 4 Lake Norman cars running together that are in this race. Don't look at the leaderboard. One is not like the others, but
Stanley went to the inside of Scott Crump. Crump hit the wall. 40 laps to go now for Justin Fuller as he comes around 39 now. It's Fuller, Weeks, and Fody, the top 3. with just 39 laps to go. Your top 10 as they run, Chris. Let's take a run through the field. Justin Fuller, your leader over Matthew Weeks. Weeks there in second. Fody in third. Fody was involved in some issues earlier today. Nick Massey also involved in an early incident. He's up to fourth. Ethan Stanley, well, he was also involved in an incident, currently running fifth. Ethan Burrell was out of the server earlier, currently in sixth. Dustin Dewar in seventh. He's got a tally here tonight. Chad J currently running in that eighth spot. David Tooker in ninth. And Mark Rebilas up in the top 10. Check out rebilasphoto.com for all your photography needs.
Stanley going to get passed by Burrell. Maybe.
The Ethan side by side. That's Stanley up top, Burrell down low.
One thing I will say, second and third coming closer together. And those two don't like each other. We talked about how that's been turned up to a high heat here the last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. As Weeks trying to hold off Tyler Fody. Fody trying to close that gap. He's closed the gap. He's right there as he takes a gander to the outside. Weeks trying to hold him off. We'll see if he slides up. Yes, he does. Fody going to hold in the line. Just want to give a quick shout out to the other few cars on the lead lap. The 12 of Leighton Norgard in 11th. Michael Hosek in the 24 currently running 12th. Jesse Bersemus in the 70 running 13th. And Conan Jones in the 85 currently running 14th, but back up to that second place battle.
Ethan Stanley, I think, is getting a little frustrated. Ethan Burrell is getting a little frustrated with Ethan Stanley putting up this kind of a fight. He's running him higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, the Ethans still side by side as they try to work their way forward. Gerald Campbell took a peek to the inside, not going to go there. He opts to stay behind. Gavin Higgins, looks like he just had a moment out there on the racetrack. He has called it a night.
Burrell slides right up in front of Stanley.
You think that's kind of a way to say, hey, not too pleased with you?
I think it's a way to say, I've made this pass. You made me work for it. Good job. We raced hard. The fight's over, you know?
Yeah, kind of like a wave the thumb out the window. Sort of, hey, good job, buddy, as we continue on here.
It's obvious that Ethan Stanley's really struggling right now.
So Fuller has another lap car ahead of him. That is the 85 of Kynan Jones. Jones, the last car currently on the lead lap, trying to stay on the lead lap as Fuller comes around. Now just 32 laps remaining. He goes to the inside of Jones, makes quick work of him.
Like Ethan Stanley, right now, he's holding up lap cars. He's racing lap cars, and he has no reason to. Ethan Stanley has the distance from him to the 7th place car is further than from him to the leader. I don't understand why he's trying to fight these guys off that are laps down behind him, that are obviously quicker.
Who was that you're talking about? I'm sorry.
Ethan Stanley.
Oh, yes. Stanley's trying his best. He's currently scored in 6th. Oh, the car's behind him. Never mind. It's been a long day. As he has Trey Eidson trying to get by him. That's one of the cars you mentioned there. Eidson looking for that opportunity to slide through. He's currently scored 15th, so he's going to be going for a battle here momentarily as Conan Jones just ahead of him. Will be a battle for position. I love that eco.
Well, here's the battle for second right now.
As we have the battle for second, like you mentioned. Weeks on the high side, Fody on the inside, nearly contact there. Let's go up to the chopper cam. Of course, it is piloted by Dave Huckleberry here tonight. Dave Huckleberry, professor, producer, and pilot. He's all the P words. As they're catching up to Michael Goodman. Oh, that got a little sketchy right there, Chris.
It looked like Goodman might have been surprised.
Again, though, Goody has mentioned his car not necessarily handling the way he would like, so it may have stepped out on him a little bit. battle brewing for 4th as well. Nick Massey, Ethan Burrell.
Yeah, and we're down to only 13 cars on the lead lap. But only really 5 or 6 of them, it looks like, have, you know... I'll give the nod to 6 cars probably with the shot to win this thing. Unless some... Like, this race has been absolutely bonkers.
To be fair,
it would have to
one
be
car is going to win this.
It would have to be crazy for any one of these front 6 not to be able to come home with the win tonight.
Absolutely. And I know we don't typically do this, but when... Oh, Fuller! Nearly sideways. That was very, very scary right there for the race leader. I know we don't usually do this, Chris, but when we do come around to 25 to go, we're going to pull a page out of the joinaps.com Cup Series broadcast books, and we're going to make secondary race picks at that point, just as a result of all the craziness that's happened in this one.
My pick's still good. Who'd you pick?
I don't think I made a pick.
Yeah, I think you kind of snuck by without making one.
Who was your pick, Fody?
My pick was Massey.
Oh, yeah, Nick Massey in 4th.
He don't run very often, so he's out here. I got to pick him.
I think what we're going to do, because I didn't make a pick when we do get to 25 to go, I'll make a pick.
Massey's losing a spot, though.
I'll make a pick, and you can make a second pick if you want. But we'll rule Justin Fuller as not pickable. Just because it's almost a low-hanging fruit, you know? As we have hit 25 to go, I'll let you make the pick, Chris. You can keep Massey, or you can go with another driver, as you did make the pick earlier.
I got to stick with my pick. He's still up there. He's still got a shot.
I'm going to go with, you know, the way this server's gone today and the race has gone, you never know what the heck could happen. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go with the 99 of Mark Rebilas. Mark Rebilas is going to win the race here today. Currently running in that 10th spot.
That's not on... That limb is very unsturdy.
Hey, his limb might be unsturdy, but he pays the bills around here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series, so...
True that.
Sometimes you got to pucker up and give a little bit of special attention to some of these guys. As we do see here, Trey Eidson still trying to get by Ethan Stanley. Stanley trying to chase down Nick Massey. We'll see if Eidson might get a little bit frustrated because, I mean, he's not really racing Ethan Stanley, but he could try to work his way forward. Maybe try to unlap himself the hard way. Dustin Durr going by Kynan Jones. Jones continues his fall. He is a lap down, currently scored 16th. So he's lost spots now to Eidson and Campbell.
Now, I do want to point out something here. Our second and third place cars are running pretty close together, and they've even spent some time racing. They are catching our leader.
They are catching the leader. I found that Justin Fuller starting to get a little bit more sideways as this race has gone on. We're now 2 hours into this one. Fuller getting closer and closer to the wall, getting a little bit more adventurous, more sideways. As next time by, we will hit 20 to go. So getting down to the nitty gritty, and just ahead of Justin Fuller, he does have a couple more lapped cars. I believe that to be Jesse Racimus. Jesse Racimus for sure. And I believe Michael Hosick just ahead of him. And yes, that is correct. So 20 to go now for Fuller.
Weeks is kind of leaving Fody now. Like Fody was there giving him all he could handle, and now Weeks is kind of driving away.
Yeah, the one thing I find here is Fuller falls back to them a little bit, and then all of a sudden he's just gone.
Now there is some lap cars, like you mentioned.
We'll see what they can do here. 1.2 seconds is the gap right now, dropping as we do see Fuller going on by the lap traffic of Racimus. Going to be catching the Michael Hosick machine. We are about to dip below a second gap between first and second. Fuller, Weeks, Fody, Burrell, Massey, the top five. Then it's Stanley, Durr, Chad J. David Tucker and a late Norgard, the top 10, as Norgard just got by Mark Rebilas. 18 laps to go. That's a lot of turns here for Justin Fuller. Chris, why don't you make the math here, or do the addition or the calculation, whatever the heck it is, and tell these people how many turns to go as Fuller comes around here for just 17 laps remaining.
Well, it would be 17 times 4. So that's what, 60, is it 68? Is that right?
I don't know, you were doing the math.
17 times 4 would be 68, I believe.
I think you're right, Chris. Good job. You get an A+ in Dave Huckleberry's math class. Hey, this gap is closing just bit by bit here. Weeks nearly closing it under 9/10 of a second. He just has Michael Hosick between himself and Justin Fuller, and Fuller has a couple of cars ahead of him in Scott Crump, Michael Goodman, etc. But I have to wonder here, could Crump come into play to help Tyler Fode close that gap back up to Matthew Weeks?
Crump's too far off the pace, I think, to... Yeah, I don't think Crump is going to come into play at all. I don't think he's going to be involved in anything that happens.
Now, I'm not saying it as if Crump's going to go out there and try to find drama or whatever. I'm just saying as a teammate. I mean,
you see right here, Crump just pulled up and let Weeks go.
Crump's going to get out of the way, let them go by. Actually, maybe more of a hindrance to Fode on exit there than anything. As Hosick dives up to the high side of Goodman and Burrell there. Now dives back to the bottom. 14 laps remaining.
14 laps left, 11 cars on the lead lap.
It's Fuller, Weeks, Fode, as Weeks trying to close the gap once again, but there's not much out in front of Justin Fuller at this point. It's going to have to be pure pace. Weeks is going to have to run Fuller down, but also hold off Tyler Fode, that's closing the gap a little bit to the Matthew Weeks machine. So this second and third place here, I think, is where we're going to be watching with just 13 laps to go.
Will be interesting to see what happens. See what takes place. I just feel like I can't shake this feeling that we're going to get some kind of late race yellow.
You know, I'm feeling that too, Chris, but I just don't know. I don't know that we're going to see it. There's not many guys out there that could potentially cause a yellow. I just don't know. Like, everyone's kind of separated a little bit here. Chad looks like he's struggling, so that's a possibility. As we're going to come around, just 11 laps remaining for Justin Fuller. That's easy math. That's 44 turns to go.
I mean, 17 times 4 was pretty easy math.
It was. Good job. Do you genuinely think we're going to get a caution here at this point, Chris?
I feel like I just can't shake the feeling. There's a lot of slow cars out here. Somebody accidentally gets into somebody. Something happens.
Somebody could blow up.
And let's not forget, these cars they've been out here. This is the longest run of the night. Tires are wearing out. People are struggling with, getting up off the corner. Some people might be starting to try to downshift at this point. And you're going to leave the corner at a higher RPM, which is going to lead to more wheel spin.
You could see a money shift as well with those downshifts, and that could lead to some unfortunate events. 9 laps now.
Yeah, so there's a lot that can happen.
We are catching a lap car. I believe that is the 27 of Braxton Deweese. Let's give him some TV time, I guess, for his viewers at home. Thanks for tuning in tonight, Deweese Clan, as he currently runs 18th after getting caught up in some issues. Fuller, Weeks, Fode, that's your top 3. Those are the 3 that maybe have a shot at it. I think as of right now, it's definitely Justin Fuller's race to lose. But anything could happen. Maybe the pressure gets to Justin Fuller.
Yeah, a lot can happen. We saw a server crash tonight too, so nothing.
Could you imagine?
Hey, we've had it happen in our series last season at Watkins Glen. We got to the white flag. Ethan Stanley had the race won, and he lagged out. Do you recall? I remember that.
Yeah, I do. It's sad that stuff like that happens. Weeks is closing this gap a little bit. I just don't know that he has enough time without Justin Fuller making some sort of a mistake.
I mean, and Fode's right there too. I think Fode's kind of backed off and said, we'll catch him. We have a better chance to catch him if I quit trying to pass Weeks and we just kind of get there. There's plenty of time. If he's faster, if he's as much faster as these last few lap times have shown, there's plenty of time.
It's definitely getting close here. As we come around, we'll face just 5 laps to go. The hand goes out, 5 fingers pointed up. Yeah, just 5 to go, Chris.
Anything within half a second as well. If you get it under half a second, you can make a pretty crazy dive out. You can throw a Hail Mary there at the end.
Yeah, he's going to try. And actually, I just noticed ahead of Fuller, we're coming up on a fair bit of lap traffic. Deweese, Jones, Goodman, Rebilas, as well as Norgard, all not too far ahead. And with those drivers all together, this is where we may see that caution you mentioned.
Yeah, and right now, Fuller's stopped the bleeding of the lead dwindling. He stopped that bleed. He's done a great job with it.
We're going to keep glancing forward at these drivers that are currently a lap down.
3 to go.
If anything happens. Good. Oh, Deweese just hit the wall hard. Deweese up into the outside wall.
And that's right in front of our leaders.
It is. Just ahead of the leaders as they come around. We're going to face 2 laps remaining this time. It is Justin Fuller up to the rear end of Michael Goodman. 0.7 of a second is the gap between first and second. Weeks going to look to the inside of Goodman. Goodman goes high as we come around. Don't think we're going to get that yellow, Chris, but we may still see something here with just a lap and a bit to go. Fuller going to come around. White flag will be displayed this time. Justin Fuller sees it.
Lights in the air.
Unless something catastrophic happens here to Fuller, this is absolutely his victory here tonight.
And what a performance.
Absolutely. He's been dominant. If Justin Fuller didn't win this race, it would be a travesty. And he is going to come around through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Off of turn 4, it is Justin Fuller in car 55, picking up the victory once again here tonight. Fuller, your winner at Phoenix.
Weeks, Fode, Burrell, Massey, Stanley. And I want to talk about this guy that's getting ready to come across the line in P7, Dustin Dewar. What a run tonight. A lot of things happened, but he survived it. And to come home there, 7th place, Chad Frankenfield's going to come home 8th, Tooker, a Leighton Norgard, and then P11, Mark Rebilas.
You know what? I'm happy for Mark. Absolutely. For him to come home in that 11th spot, obviously it's not a top 10. He's probably going to be disappointed that he missed out on the top 10, but that's his best race.
What a race, man. That was crazy.
You know, we had everything.
Man, I have never seen a lobby break like this one did tonight at the halfway point and things to go the way they did. Like, it was incredible, the things that happened during this race.
Absolutely. As we work on getting our top 3 over here for an interview We'll step away just one last time. When we come back, we'll talk to the top 3. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here. It's the Mrs.Goody's Goodies 200 here at Phoenix. Justin Fuller just walked away with the victory, but now standing by with Chris Wright is our third place driver, Tyler Fody.
Nothing crazy happened. Brought it home there on the podium, just like always. Anything you want to talk about tonight?
No, dude, it was pretty straightforward.
So talk me through that when all that went down. You know, we saw you destroy Garrison Hogan. Obviously, everything happened all at once with the yellow coming out as soon as everybody lagged. Like, talk us through what happened on your end, and then ultimately being able to get back in the race.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. I heard after the fact, but I was driving, I think, like 5th or 6th there, and then the entire lobby just disappeared. Like, there was nobody. And shortly after that, it kicked me out. So I don't know who was driving the ghost car at that point, but Garrison told me that I guess we blew up into everybody and other people were disconnected and stuff. But fortunately, I was able to get back in and only be 1 lap down and in a lucky dog spot. So it kind of worked out there. Yeah, once I got the lucky dog back, it was just kind of straightforward back to what we were doing. Just so hard to pass there, though, with Weeks and Justin at the end. We were all running, I mean, within a 1/10 of each other, so we were kind of stuck there. But after all that, I'll take 3rd.
Yeah, it was another solid run on your quest to win another championship. So what's your outlook here on the rest of the regular season and whatnot? Are you already setting up for playoffs, or are you still trying to stack some points?
No, we're just 1 week at a time. Really just trying to manage the regular season points, and then just go from there. Once we get to the playoffs, we'll worry about it then.
All right, Tyler, before we let you jump out of here and get ready for the Bristol stuff later this week, are there any shout-outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, obviously all the Lake Norman guys. Massey stopped by, got a top 5, so that was cool. Ethan was right there with him in 6th. Scott was pretty fast all night, but he ended up getting some damage, I guess. I also almost ran him over. Well, I did run him over, but he saved it earlier, which was on me. I don't know if y'all saw that, but that was pretty awesome. But yeah, shout out to all them. iWraps for painting our cars, Blue Lake Marketing, and you guys for being up here in the booth.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was not very often. You know, Robert and I have been up here in the booth for a while, and you guys have been, doing this elite stuff for a lot longer than we've been in the booth. Not very often something happens that nobody's prepared for, nobody's seen. So it was a really crazy night there, right in the middle, full distance. Had us a lot of cautions. You mentioned Scott. Yeah, we caught the contact between you and him, and then that big wreck on the front stretch. Then everything broke loose. So hopefully nothing nothing that we're unprepared for happens moving forward. So good luck at Bristol this week with the All-Star race, full distance. What's your outlook for 500 laps at Bristol? How are we going to survive?
Yeah, there isn't really an outlook. We're just going to try and stay in front of all the carnage is the plan right now, and just have a couple waters, a couple snacks, because I think it's going to be a long night.
6 hours? We're going to get it over under 6 hours?
I think under, but it might be close to like 4 or 5.
All right, Fody, congrats on the run tonight, and look forward to sharing the track with you here in a couple days.
Yep, sounds good.
Now I am standing by with our runner-up finisher tonight, Matthew Weeks. You're the only guy who went up there and made a lead change. Got to get Justin Fuller out of the lead for a little bit. What more did you need there at the end to be able to make the pass or run him down?
Maybe about 20 more laps. That's all I needed. I just needed more laps, man. I felt like I was probably a tick better on the longer run, and I didn't figure out they were downshifting until late in the race, and I'm like, oh, that's how everyone's beating me in the middle. So I just needed to know stuff and be better on the shorter runs, I think.
Now, you managed to miss everything that happened. I'm sure you know about what happened, obviously, but it's not very often something happens that kind of takes everybody by surprise. So talk us through, from your point of view, there, that halfway point of the race when people lagged out. The caution came out at the same time. So the guys that were lagging out, they weren't seeing the caution, and it all happened, it all happened pretty instantly, and some guys got destroyed, but you managed to miss all of that. So talk us through what you saw.
I don't know. I just seen the caution come out, so I lifted as naturally, and we're just rolling. And then I didn't see Fody in front of Tucker. I guess he disappeared. He lagged out, and then all of a sudden I seen Garrison just get wrecked, and I'm like, "How did that happen, dude? I didn't. Who hit you?" And then he started telling me, and everyone started breaking down that Fody lagged out. He hit him after he lagged out, and then like 5 other cars. It was crazy, dude, and it was a mess. I'm glad I didn't get killed in it, at least. But it sucks for everyone that did, because that ruined a lot of good cars race tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it was very crazy on the broadcast to see it all happen. We get the caution, and I don't know that it necessarily is as bad as it was if the caution doesn't come out at that exact time. It was just like something bad happened, and timing on something else happening, it just made it all way worse than what it could have been.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you ran up there tonight. We're gonna have the same thing at Bristol here. 500 laps, you got to beat.
No. I'm not a good short track guy, but somehow find myself running decent at these things. I came in and I didn't even think I was going to finish top 5, dude. I was in practice like 12th, 15th speed, and I never have a good thing on Phoenix. Just one of those tracks I never felt like I could figure out, And to have a strong run like this tonight is really confident for these short tracks for me, to be honest. And hopefully Wednesday we bring some speed and can race for the win, dude. That'd be fun.
Man, I don't know that it's going to be. It's going to be surviving. You want to bring something that's got a lot of can take a lot of damage.
Yeah, well, the next gen can do that, bro. If it
I don't know with
get
this
hit.
new damage model, it hasn't been able to. It's not as tanky as it was.
I don't know. I haven't really raced a lot. I've been playing a lot of other games lately, so I guess we'll just figure it out.
Well, look, since the new damage models came out, I've wrecked it enough for both of us. I promise.
All right, I believe you, man.
But anyway, before we let you jump out of here and get prepared for the All-Star race, obviously first up tomorrow. I keep forgetting that the All-Star race is going to be tomorrow night, and then we got 500 laps on Wednesday. So, what is that going to end up? 700 laps of Bristol coming up over the next 2 days, give or take a few. But are there any sponsors you want to thank or shout out you want to give here before we let you jump out of here tonight?
Yeah, I wish the All-Star race was at Charlotte, or actually a mile and a half, so we can actually race each other. But other than that, shout out to JV Designs, man, always bringing them fire schemes. Chad, I know he deals with a lot, especially at night, dude. He got an earful tonight. So with everything he deals with, man, shout out to him. And you guys in the booth, glad to have you back, Robert. I know you're busy last week. I enjoy coming up here and talking to y'all when I get a chance to. So hopefully we win. It's been a while. It's been a couple seasons. We're gonna get one. And everyone else, Pro Edge, dude, Ethan helped me a lot tonight. Trey gave me some tips on those guys shifting. So shout out to him and John. Everyone in that group, man, shout out, dude. They give me a lot of help and help me find more speed than I really have.
I think you're selling yourself a little bit short there. You just won a championship not long ago, and you're acting like you're out here struggling.
It's Monday nights, dude. I haven't won an Xfinity race in probably like 3 seasons, man, and it's getting to me, to be honest. I wanted to win for Mr. Goodman, his mom, for Mrs. Goody's Goodies. Never got a chance to, man. So many opportunities just fell, and I want to win one for Justin, dude. Rocking him on the car, so I want to put him in victory lane, so it's my priority right now.
Well, if you keep having solid speed and running like you did tonight, eventually you're going to get one because you, like I said, you were the only car that was able to take it up there to Justin tonight. So it's only a matter of time, not if, but when.
Yeah, hopefully soon, man. I just want to win. All
All
right, man.
right.
Y'all
Congrats,
have a good
Matthew.
night. Thank you, man. Y'all have a good night.
Well, now we are joined by our race winner, Justin Fuller. Justin, you got the win tonight. Pretty straightforward from your seat. You didn't see everything going on behind you. Lots of craziness out there tonight. How did you manage to find all the speed that nobody else could seem to find tonight?
I hate this place, but I've always been good here, so I knew coming in the night I would have at least a good. I shot at a good run. I didn't think it'd be like that, but well, obviously we'll take it. I'm really good on the short tracks, having used the brakes, especially when you got these flat corners. So it's really my forte, and I really love it. Just track didn't suck so bad.
Now, we did notice on the broadcast that you were the first car that really moved up in 3 and 4, and then everybody else, I think Fody seen it. He started moving up, and then Fody was close enough to the guy behind. You started a trend. What was the reasoning for getting up high there in 3 and 4?
There's some grip up there. That's where I qualified. That's how I got the pole. I ran the top through 1 and 2, so um, there's definitely some speed up there, but you just burn your tires up too much running up there. And I feel like I was really good on the short run. I was really good in the mid run and really good on the long run as well. We just never really got that long run in the middle of the race. And unfortunately, towards the end of these races, you really can't ride. So Matthew was really putting the pressure on me. So I didn't want to lose the lead and then have to try to pass him back. So especially knowing how hard it was going to be to pass. So I burned my stuff up a little bit more than I wanted to in that last run. But yeah, moving up, definitely. I didn't want to do that too soon. I feel like a lot of people knew about it because I saw him up there in practice. So I didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary. But to know I was the first one to move up, I guess that's kind of a shock. I thought people would have moved up before me, I guess.
Yeah, and my apologies there. I said 3 and 4. Obviously, you knew what I meant down there in 1 and 2. They just flipped this track recently, people. I messed it up. It's my bad.
Yeah, I used to get it wrong all the time too, until honestly, probably tonight's the first night I've actually got it right. So it's been a while.
Well, Justin, this is becoming quite the occurrence here. How are you feeling about Bristol? Are you running the Open for the All Star race?
I guess I was invited into the All Star. I don't know if I was. Maybe I was only invited to the Open. I don't know. But no, I'm not going to be there tomorrow night. I'm in a bowling league on Tuesday night, so I won't be there tomorrow night.
Well, what about Wednesday? You going to be attempting 500 laps?
Negative. I am not in the Cup Series until next year.
Well, I thought maybe you'd make a few starts and go up there and show those boys you could beat them too. It's all the same guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hate the Cup car. I think it's a pile of crap. So, my opinion on that thing is not very good. But I do plan on running next year. Whether it's full time or not, I haven't decided yet. But next year we'll make an entry and we'll at least run a handful of races.
Well, all right, Justin. Before we let you jump out of here and celebrate your race win, you have any shout outs you want to give or your sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, well, thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I'll go back and watch this tomorrow. I might skip the middle of the race, but we'll go back and watch this a little bit. Thanks to Rebilas Photography. I just butchered the hell out of that name. I know I did. For sponsoring the series. Thanks to all the admins over here. If I just want to say, Chad takes a lot of heat from people, and I get that he didn't really have too many options tonight. I do think the only way to make that be the right call would have been to call the race at that moment. So I don't know all the rules over here and everything. I'm still trying to learn the leagues, ins and outs. I feel like that would have I'd have been I would have been okay with it if they would have called it where Matthew was leading and I was in second. Obviously, I would have preferred to be leading, obviously, but I feel like that would have been the only right call to make. I think if no matter what else he did, he wasn't going to make anybody happy. But thanks to everybody that watched, and looking forward to next week and seeing what we can do in Homestead.
Well, all righty, Justin. Congrats on the win, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, have a good one.
All right, Chris, that was Justin Fuller, the winner here tonight. Had a chance to talk to our podium finishers. 3 teams represented tonight. Aftermath took the win here tonight with Fuller, followed by Pro Edge for Matthew Weeks, and Lake Norman for Tyler Fody. So nice to see a bit of diversity up there on the podium. But some final thoughts from you after what has been a crazy night here at the Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, I really, I really don't have words to put into what we've seen. You heard Fuller say, "Hey, I think the right call was to call it," but there was nothing there for anybody. There was no rule set for that. There was nothing established for. You cannot imagine that scenario right there that we had happen. That's not something that you can imagine or you can think up. Or, hey, if this happens, this is what we do. So now that it's happened, Chad and the other admins will get together and say, look, if this happens again, what's our protocol? Is it going to be called official if they're at halfway or past halfway? We're going to reset the lob. I'm sure that's a discussion that has probably already started somewhere. But outside of that, it was a great race. We had a great long run there towards the end. It was a shame that a lot of guys had already gotten wrecked out, but we had a lot of good things tonight. But of course, I think the bad things are what people are gonna remember tonight. So, ready to move on and head to Homestead next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wild night here tonight, and speaking as an admin, obviously tonight's circumstances were unprecedented, something that we haven't really had to deal with before. So it's unfortunate, of course, that those guys either got knocked out of the race by damage from cars disappearing or ended up having to work their way back up through the field from multiple laps down due to falling out of the server. But going forward, this is always something that we can come back and look at and try to develop some sort of procedure going forward, because if it hasn't happened, of course, we don't have a procedural rule in place to proceed. So we'll see what we can do going forward. Hopefully we never see this again. But that'll just about do it for us here tonight at the Phoenix Raceway. Tomorrow night, once again, right back here on the Elite Racing Network. I do believe that's going to kick off at 7:30 here on ERN. Will be the All-Star Open. I may be incorrect on that. It might end up being 8:30 with the All-Star qualifying, but check out. Actually, I can tell you right now. Hold on. Yeah, 8:30 kicking off tomorrow night here on ERN. Be sure to tune in for the All-Star race. Hopefully, Chris Wright will be joining me in that one, but if not, enjoy the show, and we'll see you tomorrow, and then we'll be right back here Wednesday night for 500 laps, about 475 too many from Bristol. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll